Well, welcome to our first live stream. If this works, it's a little bit of a test. Um, I'm here with my lovely friend Tommy Patterson. What, 20-year pro of the comic book industry? How many years you been doing this, Tommy?
Oh wait.
Oh, wait, 15?
hmm
Yeah, I think I 08 for me too, which is crazy. So both 15 years, combined 30 years. So we're deep in the heart of the comic book industry. And I figured we could get together once a week and just shoot the shit and talk about whatever new drama is in comics or whatever's going on and what kind of stuff we've been up to. So, what you been up to lately?
I finished Omega Storm, and that was like 155, about to be 157 because he's adding a title page, like a double page spread title page of the ship going through space. So the credits are going to be across the bottom. Um, but other than that, working on Graveyard Ship 5. Um, I just turned in my ninth page on that. I'm doing a couple corrections. But by next Monday, I should have 12 pages done out of 70. And we're off to the races.
And you're inking yourself now, right?
Yeah,
How you digging it? You like it?
looks good. I'm happy. I don't have to worry about like the little stuff getting lost in translation by the inkers. No offense to inkers, but there's like always some little line or something they miss on the face, and then the face ends up looking like a deformed person.
Yeah. I've been deep into the Axe Witter John remarks. We're late on the campaign, but I'm about 500 deep on these bad boys. These are getting sent back to the printer. So I got 300 more. And that's all I've been doing for the last like 2 or 3 weeks. The printer finally got their stuff together, and we were able to figure out what the hell was going on with them. They jumped on the ball finally. We fussed at them, and they mailed me a box of inserts, like 3,600 of them, and I only needed 800. So we got this giant box. I was kind of shitting my pants because I was worried I was going to have to fill out the whole thing. And once I counted them up, though, it's not as bad, but it's still a lot.
Also, you got extra? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I got to mail these back because what I'm doing is putting the insert in blank, unsigned in every book. That way, on my previous campaigns, or my not my previous, my future campaign, I'm able to go in and offer the remark in the signature still. I didn't want that not to be in the book for all of them. And also, maybe it'll incentivize people down the road to maybe get on and uh, go for the higher tiers. So, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yeah,
I got a page with
handcrafted.
Yeah, yeah. So now everyone's gonna be like, "Well, I got a page that has a signature sheet, but no signature." It's kind of, I'd want to fill it out as a completist. So, yeah, that's all I've been doing. The wife and kids went to her mom's, and they gave me the house to myself. I had my assistant Ken over, and he's been coloring a bunch of stuff, and been training him up. He's doing real good right now. And he left the other day, so I've been by myself. So I figured I'd give you a ring and catch up.
Right on.
So, what do you think about this Comics Broke Me drop? First and foremost, what's your worst deadline crunch you ever had, and how bad was it?
It was on the Farscape book, um, and I didn't miss a deadline there for years. It wasn't until like issue 12 or so of Game of Thrones that I missed a deadline. Um, but I was working a day job too, so I had the deadline crunch, and like my mom passed away. It was awful. I ended up like breaking out in some sort of weird blister on my thumb,
Yeah,
and I looked it up, and it's called a frog spawn.
a
So
frog palm.
frog spawn because it looks like frog eggs. That's how like stressed out I was. That was my worst deadline crunch.
Did you try to pop it or no?
I chewed it off, dude.
Ugh, disgusting.
Them tadpoles out of there.
My worst one was on Manhattan Projects, and I was on the same way. I was like issue 12 or 13, and I had never missed a deadline. We didn't miss any deadlines on that until like in the 20s. And I went from Red Wing to Manhattan Projects, and I was cooking, man. I was like hitting my deadlines. I was using these brush pens all the time. Like right now, I'm using tiny, tiny microns, but these give you a little more play. and I was flying, man. And we had this deadline. I set up for 3 days, and I was almost to the point where I was throwing up, where I was so sick, awake, where I was like physically ill for a minute. What's up, Will Bryan? Man, since I'm hosting this, I can see this stuff now. I can never see this stuff
Oh
before.
yeah, it's popping up. You got shatters.
If this works, I don't know if the audio works. I just hit live, so we'll see if it works. I'm assuming it works, and we're not being quiet.
I'd imagine it'd give you a warning if it wasn't.
It did. It didn't when I tested it before, so I deleted the other one. But yeah, so that was my toughest. My thoughts on the comics broke me stuff is pretty simple, man. Like you kind of get what you sign up for. Like if you sign up for $80 a page and you sign the contract, you wanted that gig for $80 a page for your own reasons. Like to me, there's like an honorable thing, like you need to do it right. And then there's that other pressure, like fulfilling a campaign, like I'm in right now. Mine's late, where like you got to honor what you said you were going to do, and it gets tough and the grind gets hard. But I don't know, man. Like
It's kind of like personal finance. You kind of like got to go through it before you figure it all out, right? You got to get a couple credit cards and then get neck deep in debt, and then you got to struggle to pay those off. That's kind of like what, working for yourself is. You get that job, and you're so happy to just have a job and be in comics, you don't realize that it's a stupid deal you signed, right? Because
there's a,
Game
there's
of
a lot
Thrones
of
gig,
there's a
my
lot of
Game of Thrones gig is like 11 or no, it's like 12 printings in. I didn't sign a royalty based contract.
yeah. Yeah, so my contracts have generally been pretty good because I've always got them mostly through Hickman. So I've always gotten pretty good deals.
That's a straight shooter.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He gave me a lot of good advice, and when I've listened to it, it's always worked out real well. But like for him, I've never taken an advance on any image book because I want it all. I mean, Image will let you. They don't take anything from you anyway, but I would never take the advance that they offered. So I always had pretty good contracts and get about 50% of everything I do with Hickman. So that's always been really rewarding. And he's the coolest dude to work with too. Like he's always trying to give us like his his co-creators, he's always giving us advice and trying to push us out of the nest and bet on ourselves like he has with himself. But there is like a beautiful reward to comics where you're the man, right? Where you're drawing
Mm-hmm.
the book, you get all the credit, you're the artist on it. It seems awesome. And the giveaway is that sometimes we take kind of crappy gigs, you know? And I feel bad for people that got screwed over. There's like more things that I'm upset about than the comics broke me. Like, you know, the guy who wrote the or allegedly wrote the newest Batman movie, and he did it like he said it was a spec script he did for DC while he was a freelancer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Wozniak or something like that. I forget his last name, but he was like starting a little movement for himself. And like DC came out and preemptively sued him for writing the thing that they potentially stole. But he was under a freelance contract at the time with DC. So that means if I worked for DC and I have and pitched stuff to DC and I have, if they go to use it, they now are setting a precedent to come in after me if they use it, right? So like that's like comics broke me. You know, like that's a terrible story. There's some bad ones, man, and like Bill Finger, everyone gets fingered.
Well,
Jack,
there's just not a lot of money in comics until you hit a certain threshold. Then there's really good money in comics.
yeah,
So
it's tough. I think you just got to watch yourself. Oh, look at this! I got Manhattan Projects #1 hardcover. I couldn't connect with the genre, but the art was great. That's right. The art carried that book, right? No, Hickman carried the book. I'm just a nobody. But thank you for buying that hardcover. It's awesome. Hardcover 1 and 2 are the best, by the way. They tell the most solid story I've told in comics with 1 and 2. The ones after, that's why there's no volume 3 yet because it's not really completed. So, but one and 2 tell a pretty complete story, and we had some pretty good Hollywood deals cooking until this Oppenheimer movie came and jumped in front of us. My boy Christopher Nolan needs to back off.
that's
Is that?
what that's kind of what happened to Scott Adams. He was about to get Dilbert made, and then they made Office Space, and that totally killed everything he'd worked for.
Oh yeah. Um, but anyway, I'd say my advice to people is just watch. Watch what you sign. I've got a lawyer now, which helps out a lot. It's very expensive, but I'm signing more contracts for Axe Wilder John toys and different little things, and it's you just got to watch yourself and don't be afraid to red mark contracts. Like that's really big. Like what I realized with a lot of the people I've dealt with, they have this right of first refusal. You got to get rid of that, man. You can't be giving that right of first refusal away because they can refuse something that someone else is offering you 100K for or 50K for, and they'll refuse it or they'll use the language to really mess you up. I know you should have, dude. If I swear, if there's
With
multiple
contracts, with contracts, you got to make them say no.
if there's multiple Oppenheimers in that movie, or if it's a little weird, leaning towards Manhattan Projects, he's going to be hearing from a mile away. So we'll see about that.
Oh, I didn't even know that Christopher Nolan's making that.
Yeah, it's a big movie.
Oh, that's gonna be great then.
Oh, easy there, easy. We're gonna
You can get fucked, brother.
we're gonna boycott that,
I'm Team Nolan all
dude.
day.
We're gonna boycott that movie. No, I'm hoping it's so big that people are gonna be more aware of who Oppenheimer is, and maybe it'll like like Dante's Peak and Inferno, or Dante's Peak, was it Dante's Peak and Inferno came out at the same time? There's always like that.
Yeah, the double,
Yeah, the
and then just like Deep Impact and the other one.
yeah. So it's like I'm hoping we get that reverberation. We'll get that whichever one came out first. Oh, Volcano and Dante's Peak or whatever. Those are the two.
Yeah, Volcano.
Whenever the synchronicity hits, yeah, we're hoping for that Manhattan Project's money. That's what we're hoping for. But
When you name your movie something so plain that you can't think of the name of it, even though like what it's about is a volcano. Yeah.
um, So yeah, so I would just say don't like my number one advice is don't be afraid to ask for more. Like I always ask, not always, but every time I've said, "Hey, I need at least another 100 a page on this," or "I want this colorist. I don't want to do all this detail work and have my work not look up to par with what I want." I'll just tell the editors I'm not going to be willing to walk away is like the biggest thing. And Hickman told me this early on is like it's almost like talking to a girl. If you chase her the whole time, you almost got to say no sometimes. You almost got to play hard to get. And that's like a weird thing because we want these gigs so bad. We want to play with our action figures so bad. Like I want to work on the Hulk. I want to work on Flex
But
Mentality.
most of the time, they're ready to get the gig going, and they don't have to try to hunt down someone else. You know.
Well, many times editors have come back and said, like, I remember at DC when I did a little work for them, they were like, "This is the rate," and I said, "Oh, I can't do it for that rate." And they were like, "Well, we're not doing more." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, good luck." And they came back like 2 days later, and they're like, "Oh, we can do that rate." I was like, I should ask for more. You know what I mean? So it also helps, like, if you know people in comics, you kind of know the rates, and I know some guys are making a lot more than me, and I put more detail in, so maybe I should get paid, but it's all good. I just say don't be afraid to know your worth. And some of these people that are complaining too, like early on, man, I took some bad gigs too. And sometimes your worth is $100 a page early on. You know what I mean? Like just because it is a comic book gig and it's hard.
I would say it depends on like how young you are, right, and like what you're looking to achieve. Treat it as a college
Yeah,
instead of going to debt in college. Just you're making a little less, but you got to move up quickly, or you'll be pigeonholed as like a cheapo.
agree, Jasper. Agree. Flex Mentallo. Make a
And you just got to get better. Get
just
better, and then you'll be worth more.
just make a similar IP. That's what the one pitch I sent to DC. I'm gonna workshop that to my own story one day. But I got a lot of Axel or John to do now. Um, So what else? Oh yeah. So did you see on your side of the fence? I'm a fence sitter, so I stay out of this stuff. But you know that you saw the Pit Omnibus got canceled, and I was really excited, man. Del Keon to me is at least a top 10 for me all time, and probably top artist guy. Man, is he not like a
Yeah,
top
he's got skills. That's for damn sure.
top five? Now I saw like all that everyone was getting mad at each other about it getting canceled, and I thought like originally it was going to be the Diaz brothers, and then Pat Parnell was going to do it. And now I think Ethan Van Sciver might be doing it for him and like trying to get that off the ground. I think that would be a huge seller, man. Like they need to figure it out and figure out whatever drama.
Easy money to be made. If everybody's fighting over something that, I mean, does Dell even want it? he's got to show me he wants it. If he wants it, it'll get done. You
Yeah.
know, so it's all on him, in my
I mean,
opinion.
I don't I don't jump on that side of stuff. The whole CG stuff, I stay out of that. I'm nice to everybody. That's my mentality. But I do think that Pitt, it would be a shame if it doesn't get done. It's the 30-year anniversary for Image Comics. It's one of their flagship, to me, one of their flagship titles. Probably their best drawn early title. Like
Yeah, dude, the first issue especially holds up better than any other Image first issue. It
so, like
still looks
it
it looks
that
phenomenal.
that goes so much further than crowdfunding. That would be obviously if they could get it in bookstores and stuff. And man, like an iconic first cover. And from what I heard, that Dale might need the money, so like get it done, man. Like hopefully those guys can figure it out and don't make it a big drama fest. Like I know that probably that would stress me out if people were arguing over
Well, I
what.
don't. I think my opinion is the drama is created by Dell because he is so fickle with it. You
Yeah,
know, I think I don't know if these people haven't thought it through or what, but what's going to have to happen is whoever takes it on is going to need to go up and spend some time, like a couple of weeks with Dale, and find out what all he has file right? Because I don't think he wants a fucking scanned Kinko's copy version of an omnibus out
no, it needs to be prestige.
there. So then, like, your job number two in putting it together is, can you hunt down those original master files? Surely Image Central might be able to help with that. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
And I know printers keep all that stuff. I've worked at 3 or 4 print shops, and trust me, they don't throw anything away
yeah,
because 80% of print business is repeat business,
yeah.
meaning they reprint the same shit over and over. So
Hey, same thing in the medical records business.
yeah,
Everybody, every time you need an extra copy or there's a lawsuit, people want your medical records, your HIPAA authorizations and stuff to get them all. I used to be a runner and would go subpoena those records for lawyers or people defending themselves against lawsuits and stuff. And man, they would keep a collection of all of the stuff, and they got to destroy it after a while. But there's something to be said that man, I wish these things would stay up longer. Oh, that you can touch them. Can you touch them on your end, Tommy? And they stay up longer. There's something to be said about artists that are able to do their best work later in life. There are a few big names that are doing their best. Keon, Booth, Silvestri, EVS, Nolan, Tucci. I'd say Kevin Nolan's doing awesome work. Art Adams seems to get better. Obviously,
Tommy Patterson.
Frank Quietly. Well, I'm still learning, so I wish I could. I hope I get to that level where I can just keep leveling up. But yeah, with those guys that don't fade, that just keep putting out consistent high end work. Um, that's
Yeah, Dell he keeps ascending. So
I know.
that's why my mindset on this omnibus is, if somebody is like that much of a perfectionist, just look at anything he draws. There's no like accidental lines on there. There's no like slinging the rendering noodly kind of shit. This stuff is like precision. You think he wants scanned issues collected? I don't think he does.
No, he wants like a beautiful book, embossed lettering, like a nice cover. Probably
Job number one, I say before you even attempt to do the book, see what you can hunt down file wise.
yeah. Well, he's got to want it. My main thing is I want the book. You know what I mean? According to pre-press guys, the print files exist. Ooh, let's see this. The print files exist. The Pit Omnibus files exist, and someone needs to pick up the project. Ooh, that's nice. So if they already exist, man, it's ready to go. So that's my main thing is I'm just heartbroken because I want to order that book. Like I'm a big hardcover collector fan. I like them more than floppies, and to have that big collection, 400 something pages, would be freaking awesome. And that's just something as an artist you would study. As a fan, you would have the nostalgia feels from when you were reading it as a kid, and then as a fellow creator, I want the best for Dale and everyone involved. It's
I
some,
mean, personally, I'd be excited for all the thumbnails and sketchbook stuff and all that other stuff that we haven't seen. That's why I would buy it.
Yeah. And if he was able to do the sign, like I'm doing the remarks for Axe Builder now, how much more could you get for a signed copy or a quick doodle? Man, he could blow up. That could be a $500,000+ campaign.
There's too much money there for it not to get made. I still say it's just all up to Dale. Whenever he wants it done, it'll get done.
I like omnibuses too because I always think like I got my Madman omnibus and a couple of these giant ones, and I used to live upstairs at Cody Scheibe's house, the artist in Austin, and I always thought, man, let somebody break into this house, let me hear them.
Mm.
I'll stack two of those on top of themselves and hurl it down. Can you imagine if you kill someone with two hardcovers of two omnibuses?
Man, one of my buddies in high school, his dad was an artist. He did like abstract kind of stuff, but he would also venture over into like the portraits that kind of looked like people, but they were still scribbly. But he was all about that art life. He like did his paintings, and then for money, he would do dive for not oysters, but clam diving. But they had a badass house. It was like handmade, just giant planks of wood. Um, anyway, they had got a bunch of old library books where a library had flooded or whatever. And his dad liked me a lot because I was an artist, right? His son was into like bass playing and all that shit. But I guess he wanted his son Matt to be an artist so bad that he was like buddying up to me. And he gave me like 4 or 5 of those musty ass books that he had. And I got a Leonardo da Vinci omnibus. Dude, the
Oh,
fucking thing is like it's huge, dude. I got it in storage. I need to get it out. And what's cool is like all that water damage on it makes it look like the real fucking thing, dude. It looks like Leonardo owned that piece of shit.
oh, Jasper's in Austin. Yeah, I'll totally come hang out with you, man. I'm in North San Antonio now. Chuck Arnold asked, "Would you want it recolored or not?" I'd say we'll never get it if it gets recolored. I can't wait on 400 and something base. Uh, would I want it recolored? I don't think the color.
Yeah, if they could find the master, like if they find the black and white, they should talk to someone at IDW and how they track down all their shit, right? And if they can get the black and white, then yeah, why not recolor it? I do think Pit #1, the colors on it are the best, actually.
He's not so much black, and he has so much like value in his work that
You think it hit it too much?
I don't know if it matters. I think anyone who wants it wants it. I mean, it would be awesome if they just printed it all black and white. Like then, I don't. It wouldn't sell as much, but I'd be
You
way
don't
more.
think? I bet it would sell as much, if not more, dude.
Dude, if they could get the black and white files and offer the 2 book special, now you're getting close to $1 million campaign. Jasper, I went to we went to a show, Alden Witches, and I went with Biggins actually. He's a cool dude. He's one of my best friends. He's always been a big art supporter and always been a cool dude to me. So we get together every now and then. I'll drive up every 4 or 5 months and hang out with him. He's a cool dude.
Biggins is like the most diverse dude you'll ever meet. He's like whatever color the nightclub is. I've never seen a photo of him where he wasn't like fucking pink or green or some shit.
His the nickname I gave him the first night I met him. It was at a comic book show in Austin, and he wants to always take artists out and do stuff with artists. And I said his name was the Scene. So to me, he's the Scene because he wants to be seen, and he goes always knows where the cool scene is at. And I'm like a dorky comic book artist, never leave the house. So he's like, let's go here, and it's
You know
fun.
how you and I are like big time nerds on like a little phrase or a word. I
Oh
was
yeah,
watching I was watching TV the other day, and somebody said, "Oh, we have a situation here," and I thought, "Dude, the situation that'd be a killer nickname."
yeah.
Oh shit, that's the fucking Jersey Shore, dude. The
The Italian
situation.
he's already sniped
Beat me to it, dude.
it.
I was getting hyped, and then I had a moment of realization.
Yeah, that's actually how I know the Scene. I call him the Scene. So he's the Scene is he's a huge that's how I know Chuck Arnold in the chat too is we're all art collectors and then, art collectors are weird, they all most of them are comic book nerds, but some are great jobs lawyers or whatever. You get an eclectic group of people, you know. So that's how I know a lot of the friendlier guys I know on the collecting side. And art collecting is like a subculture of a subculture. I'm talking to the chat and didn't mean to cut you off, Tommy. I apologize. The
That's all good. Yeah, it's
situation,
crazy money flying around in the art market.
dude, and it's like doubling every like 4 or 5 years. And don't think for a second it's not because our debt is going up all the time. You know, if a hot dog's $1 and then all of a sudden you print $10 trillion in 10 years, then the hot dog's $3. Don't be
If I
surprised.
could buy, we were talking about it one time. If somebody needs to make an app where you can invest in the individual. Like I said, I would invest in Doctor Disrespect because I feel like that dude's a moneymaker. I want a stake in
You're
him.
doing
I want a
that's
stake in PewDiePie. You know what
that
I mean?
Arian Foster did that with his contract for the Texans. Um, at the end of his career, on his last contract, he would let you buy into his value. There was no value there at the end of a running back's career, but yeah, they did the same thing. I would So the way I look at it is, I
I
look at
would invest in Felix, is what I'm saying.
no, I would invest. I would invest in I would invest in the I would invest in Frank Quietly. He's who I've invested in, and I've never lost. But the way I look at it is money's electricity, right? Working is energy. We're building stuff. We're selling stuff. You're trying to collect more energy. If you hold that energy in money, in currency, the currency can be drained by the government on the back end. By printing more money, they're draining your currency. So what you need is batteries. You need stores of value. You need assets, a home. And this is why it's getting harder for people to own homes or own expensive art, because as they print the money, the people with the assets go up way in value. The Quietly art goes up, the Art Adams art goes up, your home goes up, car values go up. So then if the minimum wage isn't being raised, you are creating a poverty class. And I'm not someone who likes to sit around and say poor people, you know, I believe in like picking yourself up by your bootstraps. But I do think that gap, when a starter home's like 360,000 now, is crazy.
Instead of like one
It's
or two jobs to step to get there, now it's like the third and fourth job to get there.
Yeah, and then I don't know what minimum wage is, if it's still 7.25, but that was
I think
recent.
it's still 7.
But like now, like the barbecue place down the street starts at $15. Like it doubled too, because they can't get workers, you know. And so,
Yep.
but you can't afford anything if they're going to keep printing the money. There's no such thing as printing money. You know, there's only it's currency, it's energy, and they're able to produce more energy, which you can't do yet. Maybe the fusion game changes all that down the line. I don't know, but as of right now, if they're printing the money, they're not printing the money. They're taking your money on the back end. It's that quiet tax. So for me, don't put anything in your bank account. Save no money. Buy all the Quietly art you can, baby. And it is,
Man, that sounds like you got a quietly scam going over
and then you can also promote by talking about it all the time, and it goes up in
there.
value. Or you trick Chuck Arnold into buying it with you, and then you get two people doing
Yeah,
it.
you manifest the quietly market, that's for sure.
I would say, I look, Trad's art just blew up. Well, what is this? I got a Silvestri Geely limited 500 pieces, Daleks Expo, the high edition size. Oh yeah, yeah. So that's the starter pack. The starter pack's the print game and the Geely game, and then you get into the original art game, and that'll start with like commission,
Yeah.
and then it starts blowing up. Um, what else has been going on? Did you watch the Spider-Verse movie or no?
No, I watched the first one. It's incredible. It had me going down a long rabbit hole of looking at Blender, and there are a few guys out there you could buy shaders, like they figured out all the fucking math into it, and you can turn like your 3D models into that Spider Verse looking stuff.
What somebody
Pretty
needs to
cool.
do, if they haven't done it, is go. Um, I click on that so it stays up. What someone needs to do is they need to go find the guy who did that Spider Punk. Who, like, Spider Punk came out early, right? And Spider Punk in that movie's freaking cool. The way they animate him was like gig posters, so he's constantly clicking with like flat
Yeah,
2D stickers on him and stuff. And dude, he is the coolest new Spider Man. The
dude,
Indian Spider.
that Sable game that looks like Mobius stuff is pretty badass. So they
Oh,
can do a lot with those shaders on the 3D stuff now.
yeah, and it doesn't look like it takes that much rendering to keep that up. Yeah, that Sable's beautiful. That
Yeah, and I remember like I think it was Street Fighter 4 came out. They had that Sumi brush look that was following all the animations. Looked like just a big fat Sumi black ink stroke trail and everything. That was badass.
Chuck Arnold said, I think quietly manifests at the quietly market. The best artists on the best characters. Limited supply, great product, supply and demand. See, I talked to him beforehand. I said, you get on here and you promote that frame quietly with me, and he shows up. You know, always, always, he's my number one guy. I agree with you 100%. And like, I love the '90s guys. It's cool, but Liefeld, doing like way too many teeth in a mouth and an eye too high. He doesn't have. He's good and he does his thing, but while he was watching the '90s guys blow up, making millions, quietly drawing, quietly going to rise. The cream slowly rose to the top. Then
No, dude, I saw a video. He was sleeping in a. He was taking a bath in a subway. He's sleeping on a pile of anime books or manga
yeah,
books.
I told you when I went to visit him, I brought him a pillow that was
Oh yeah, yeah. You brought him a Mike Lindell My Pillow.
no, I brought no, I brought him an Akira pillow. I got it made on Etsy or something,
Yeah.
and because he was using all the he was using a certain number like number 7 and number 3 of Akira for a pillow, and I was like, dude, I don't know what you guys are doing in
Dude, you
Scotland.
got to get the right volume so you can get a good night's sleep. That's crazy.
Hey man, it was Jasper's cool. Glad you showed up. Have fun with your family, dude. Um, yeah, it's cool. This is our first time doing a live on mine, so this is pretty fun. And we just did it right through YouTube, which made it a lot easier. Um, so maybe we'll do it. We'll try to do it once a week, and I'll catch up with Tommy. Tommy's been like my good friend in comics for over 10 years now, and it's been me and him. We've had groups of friends that come and gone, but some reason I can't shake this fool. So it's good for me to catch up, and I figured it'd be good content. We usually talk about what drama's going on in comics or whatever, and he's kind of in the CG crowd. I'm in the normal fence sitter, keep to my business crowd, but we're good friends.
You're
And
in milk toast.
I'm that milk toast crowd. But I stay out of drama because I want to sell comics to everybody, man. And Tommy is just working for hire and making the best money he's ever made. So I'll never attack him too much for his business decisions. Everyone's got to feed their family and do work, and I think Tommy's doing some of the best work of his career right now. Finally inking himself after me 10 years. Finally took my advice, and now he's blowing up.
It
Thank
looks so good. I'm so happy with it.
thank you. I'm waiting for my thank you.
Thank you, Huyan.
What else? Oh yeah. So, what do you think about the drama of the guy that they, the guy that I guess he asked to be taken off the Eisner ballot. He was the mean teacher at a New York school.
Oh, he was asked? I thought they demanded.
Well, after the mob came after him, kind of demanded, but I don't know. Like to me, I can separate the art from the artist, and I think a lot of artists are weird. I got this theory on Crumb that our Crumb, you know about Robert Crumb, right? The man. Um, it's like there's always going to be people in the center with arrows pointing to the outside that are going to take shots at somebody who's not quite normal, right? And our Crumb is so off the rails that everyone gets to exist because of him. Meaning, if everyone in the center is an archer, they're all aiming at a little Crumb out there because he's insane. He's drawing the most perverted stuff, right? Everyone else gets to exist between R. Crumb and Norm because he's taken so far. Now, do I agree with R. Crumb on everything he does? No. But do I like that he's that dude out there that's protecting it for the mean people, the other people, whatever people? He kind of expands the target out. And for me, I love there's someone out there dancing in the wind, doing whatever they want, and still able to maintain when he's getting like his speeches canceled and everything canceled. There's something admirable about because for me the big is freedom of speech, and I don't agree with everything people have.
Have you seen any interviews where he was talking about getting canceled a little bit? I haven't, but
I've watched a lot of his interviews.
It just seems like he's the type of person that really wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he just doesn't care. And like also like to do the brutally honest stuff, the darkest thoughts in your mind, and to illustrate them. That is an ugly art, you know, in a way. But
Yeah.
the fact that he's doing it means that if I make a butthole joke, it's quite as bad. Then I don't get all the archers pointed at me. He's out there like taking the freedom of speech thing probably too far, but he's able. But because he exists, there's a lot of other people that get to reflect back at society, and I think that's what artists do, right? We hold up a mirror and we show what we see in people, what we see in a society, but we got to step on that outside edge, and any of us could be a target if we do that, right? But R. Crumb says, "Nah, pick me, dude. Shoot those at me because I'm gonna stuff someone's head up their ass or whatever he does." You know, like out of his mind. You know, and I love that about R. Crumb. You know, I love that about him. But I also don't find his stuff. I think as an artist, he's like when I first saw it, it was so crude. But once I saw the R. Crumb documentary and looked at the things he was looking at, and then he was drawing, and it looked just like it, he's completely found a language, visual language that's his own, and it's
We're talking
just
about the shaders on the video game. He's got his own shader he puts on stuff, dude.
yeah, yeah. I think everyone has their own lens. Like my lens is part quietly, so never quite fully realized. But like an Art Adams or a Dale Keown or some of these top guys, they have a language that's instantly understood. They completely understand it, and like art, like Mike Mignola, it just it just comes out of them, and you see it, and you know it's their voice. You know, and I think that's the ultimate goal to get to a place that those veterans have gotten. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. I wanted to catch up. We ain't got to keep doing this. I got to do some remarks so we can get back on Skype later and hang out.
I gotta go get my wife.
All right. Well, tell her I said hi, and I hope she's doing good. She healing up
Yeah,
okay? Good.
yeah, she went from being in the wheelchair to she can already put like 50% of the weight on the leg.
Nice.
Yeah, so hopefully in another like 3 weeks she gets out of the boot. So
Well, cool.
and
All
she's
right, bro.
walking with that gangster limp.
She can walk with that slow lamp. I like it. All right, dude. We'll try to get on it every couple of days if anything pops off and we can speak our piece and we can catch up. It'd be fun to hang out a little more. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thanks for hopping on, brother.
Yep.
Hey, see you guys. Thanks for tuning in. How
How do you end it? Oh no.